All right, I'm live. Let me know if the sound is working. Never know. Hi, YouTubers. Hi, viewers. Thank you. Professor Matthews, learning about movies. This is this month's live stream, which I'm going to talk about what's on Paramount Plus, whether you've got it or not. I'm going to show you the movies on it, and that'll give you movie recommendations. I signed up for it. I'm not sponsored by them. That's one of the things I'm going to do here. I'll talk about streaming recommendations, and I'll shoot the breeze with you on the chat. Come on in here. Let me know how it's going. I must point out, I am a hobbyist. I don't make that much money off this. You can go check out whatever I make on Social Blade, socialblade.com. You can check out any social media's income intake from Social Blade, by the way. So, Substack, I've got it on the screen. Where is it? There it is. I write. I have a lot of fun writing. Go ahead and over there and subscribe. You get an email. I do it once a week usually. I'm trying. And donate there because they pay me a higher cut than YouTube does. But you can donate on YouTube. I don't make that much money. This is a hobby. I'm not quitting my day job over this. I have to say I'm not sponsored by them, but this is my affiliate link to Keychron keyboards. I love these things. Customizable. This one's magnetic, super heavy. Absolutely love it. I got two of these. I got the compact one, but I got the one with a number pad, my favorite thing, and my fingers are so happy with this thing. Check out the link there. You're going to get 5% off if you go to their website and order something. Wait, do I get 5% off? Maybe I don't remember. What do I know? I'm not a businessman. I just love these things. I have one here. It's making my fingers so happy. The clickety-clack of it, it's golden. I remember computers of old, and the clackety-clack keyboards, I like that. So, movies. Here is Substack. I've got what I've written. I did a couple reviews last week. The Gorge, which is on Apple TV. Scott Derrickson, the director, did a science fiction movie. And I like about half of this thing. The second half is all action and... well, how long has the stream been running? Only for 1 minute. This is like... part interesting science fiction setup, a wacko, implausible premise, two snipers and two towers around a gorge. They don't even know where they're at. They have to protect the gorge and keep anything that's in there from coming out. Good setup, romantic movie, but the second half is all shooting, and that's always a little bugaboo with me and with critics of old too. But it's all shooting, kind of goes nowhere, and so it's okay. Paddington. Just okay. Watch it with your kids, but it's not going to be as special as the other Paddingtons. In movie news, this is the one that I noticed today. And some of you are going to go, who cares? And I kind of think that James Bond is being taken over by Amazon. I didn't read this to get the details. I just saw the headlines. Okay, so whatever this says, it says. But Amazon supposedly is going to be doing James Bond. Does that mean James Bond will get better or worse? We all know the answer to that. I don't know what Amazon has produced. I mean, in the first couple of years of Amazon Studios, whenever that was, they did a bunch of good stuff. They had a year or two good movies. Then the head of the studios got involved in a Me Too scandal, quit or got fired. And ever since then, Amazon Studios is just basic Netflix, not very interesting. Now that's what I'm basing it on. The few things I've seen, they may have some good things that I have not seen. So just so you know, James Bond, Steven Soderbergh, the great director, was that on Twitter somewhere else, said something like there's only one James Bond movie worth studying, and of all of those movies, it was in Her Majesty's Secret Service. The one with George Lazenby, which nobody knows. So he's not enthusiastic about it. And I don't know that James Bond is worth watching that much, but I'll let you decide that. Anyway, giant corporations taking over big long-time franchise properties. All right. Now, here's my problem. Streaming. What the heck do I watch? No idea. There's a million things out there, although there are a lot of movies you can't find on streaming. But if you're on any service, what do you watch? That's always my problem. So the other day, my 11-year-old walks up to me and says, I want to watch soccer. And I said, where did that come from? Well, we watched the World Cup a couple years ago, and it was awesome, so let's try to watch soccer. So I went looking for soccer channels and stumbled upon the fact that Paramount Plus has several of the big-time European leagues. So that was one of my impetuses for getting it. The other was, well, he wanted to watch the Sonic movies, which are sitting there. We watched the first one, haven't seen the last two, but probably will get there. So I thought, they have an okay price, yearly price. It's okay. We'll use it enough to justify the price and like the channel output here. I'm on a budget, so I can't spend a ton on all these services. I've got Criterion, and I've got this one, and Amazon Prime, because I live in the middle of nowhere, so I need that. But other than that, I don't have anything right now besides these. So I thought, let's take a look at this one. What do they have on Paramount Plus? It turns out not much, but enough that if you subscribe to it for a month or two, you'll get decent use out of it. So that's always what I do. I am not sponsored by them, by the way. I have no sponsors, except I just promoted Keychron because I get some money if you buy that one of those. But, yeah, I don't get any money from this, so I'm just looking at it as objectively or as biasly as a middle-aged dad as I can here. It's okay. I would subscribe to it for a month or two and then get rid of it and watch the stuff. That's the one I would subscribe to for 2 months, watch these movies, and then I'm good. Now, they have a lot of shows, so I'm not going to diss that, and they have the sports. So, live TV, I don't think I get that. I have to add on, but shows, whatever shows, CBS, whatever was on CBS, and other stuff. So, I'm focused on movies on this channel. That's what I'm going to talk about. So, what do they have? Well, I'm not getting it. Where's the list at? Come on. I just had it. See, one of my complaints about these services, I do not like these side scrollers. They're like endless, hard to see what's on there. And so I just do not visualize those. I don't get along with those side scrolling movie selection things very well. Netflix has those and so on. Now, once I start scrolling, it'll go, they really don't have much. And I don't know why. I don't know the whole history of Paramount and why they are limited. A Quiet Place is okay. Not sure if I'd show it to my 11-year-old. Spielberg's Artificial Intelligence. Pretty good. Interesting movie. So we can go through it like this. And I'll show you my list in a couple minutes. But they have like Showtime things like After Sun. So a lot of people loved this movie. I didn't. But there you go. You might try it. Yeah, I agree. The streaming overlays, the best thing ever was Netflix's DVD queue, right? I thought that was the best. We peaked 20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years, like 2005, it was better. Anyway, I'm not going to be that old guy complaining. So, I got through the A's pretty quickly. I mean, yeah, okay. So what they have, and I'll show you the Aviator, they have enough stuff to justify getting on here, going through this, and looking at what you haven't seen, and like clicking on, okay. But what they don't have are older movies. A little disappointing here, they don't have much that's super duper old. Now, actually, it happens that at our household, they're studying World War II, so I told my wife about these, and they've got maybe good documentaries. I haven't watched those, but those Battles of Okinawa. The Beavis and Butthead, Beau is Afraid. So there's enough here for me to say, okay, for a couple months, $10, 15, I don't even know. So here's what I've got on my list. I might as well show you what I picked out. Now, these are mostly movies I have not seen or want to rewatch because I don't have much on here. Because I have not seen them in a long time. I'm running up into a problem where I have seen movies from 1999 back when they came out, but I was only 19 or 20 years old, and I don't remember them very well, or I may have a completely alternative view of them now that I'm 25 years older. I have not seen Tropic Thunder. It keeps showing up. People keep quoting it, or the internet keeps quoting it. Do I want to watch it? I don't know. But there it is. Maybe. Possibly. Talented Mr. Ripley. I'm going to rewatch that. I'm in the middle of a 1990s watching project. I am in 1998. I'm almost done with 1998. So I feel like I'm almost done with the decade. And then I'll release best of 90s lists and great stuff for you. But the problem is 1999 is a massive year. Like the Mount Everest of movie years to get through. I legitimately can make a list of 1999 movies, 70, 80 movies deep, that are somewhat to very interesting. So 1999 has been acclaimed as one of the greatest, if not the greatest movie year ever. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not here to say that. But to tell Mr. Ripley, I saw it when it came out. I saw it in a college dorm. I don't even think I know what it's about. But I need to rewatch it because people in my life like it a lot. So that's why it's sitting there. Swingers I've seen a bunch. Poltergeist I've seen. K-19 I want to show to my children. It's a very good Catherine Bigelow movie. Underseen. Harrison Ford and Liam Neeson are Soviet naval officers on a sub. And if that doesn't sound credible to you, just don't suspend your disbelief. What am I going to tell you? A great image of radiation and radiation dosage. Great disaster aversion kind of movie. Catherine Bigelow, she's good. She usually makes good movies, in my opinion. I have not seen Into the Wild. I've read the book. I like the author Jon Krakauer. I recommend him entirely to everybody, but I've never seen the... Don't tell my students that. And then the Sonics, and then I haven't seen Flight either. So they have the Mission Impossibles, they have the Star Treks. If you've not watched the Mission Impossibles, the last 4 or 5, they are pretty good to great. Action movies, silent comedy action movies. Not really comedy, but like a Buster Keaton sensibility. Tom Cruise is the new Buster Keaton. Weirdly enough. And he does well. So I would recommend the last few Mission Impossible movies. Now we could go through this entire list. Is that boring? I have no idea. So maybe I should roast this or something. But find a movie I hate. That seems to be popular on YouTube. Rag on something you hate. So I'm going to scroll way down here. But I'll do this till I'm bored. But overall, this isn't a bad service. It's just not one I would definitely get over a year. I've said that 7 times, but that is the case. It's fine, but it's not. It doesn't have a ton of movies on it. So I would strategically subscribe to this whenever. Look at all this crap. I don't even know what this stuff is. Is that Blue's Clues movie? You know, that was such a thing. Don't tell my wife. She loves Blue's Clues. I don't blame her. That was a good show in some of it, in its own way. Breakfast at Tiffany's hasn't been canceled. You know, I think it's going to survive all the DEI and various attempts to, get rid of old movies that are definitely stereotypical, and that one is badly stereotypical. I saw Bumblebee. It was okay. The Caine Mutiny Court Martial, isn't that oh boy, William Friedkin's last movie? I think it is. Maybe. Now here's one of my favorite Steven Spielberg movies, Catch Me If You Can. A very good Spielberg movie, very fun. I could probably watch it with my teenagers. I have no doubt about it. Absolutely. So that's a good one. Anyway, Chicago, Oscar winner. There's an older movie, Chinatown. So anyway, you get the idea. Cider House Rules in 1999. Cinema Paradiso is a very good movie for most of you, etc., etc. Now, blah, 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 blah. That was a sneak peek at Paramount. It's not bad. I love Criterion. I think it's great. Their price is dirt cheap. In fact, I tweeted out the other day, Twitter, whatever, X, that Criterion Channel costs 90-some bucks a year, and their selection is amazing, versus Netflix, which is, I think, 18 to 20 bucks a month now without ads. So Netflix is catching up. Netflix's monthly price is catching up to Criterion Channel's yearly price. The price you pay for becoming a online movie studio, Netflix, sort of a bait and switch on these giant corporations' part. Cutting their prices down, getting rid of some competition maybe, and then jacking up the price once everyone's subscribing to them. I hate that. But you have Criterion. I'm going to show a Rear Window on Friday in class. So that's sitting there for us. By the way, Criterion Channel, if it's leaving, if it's in the collection, they will almost certainly bring it back. It's just going off for a while and coming back on. It's part of the collection. So there you go. But some of these they're getting, and they're getting some absolute classics or great movies, great older movies, great 70s, 80s, 90s movies, in my opinion, more than they have ever in the past. So I love Say Anything. I promoted it on this channel. I think it's just a good romantic sort of movie with the iconic boombox thing. And Cusack and Ion Sky are amazing, but I've talked about that on the channel. A couple science fiction movies we're checking out here for sure, if you're into science fiction, absolutely. I'm going to skip over stuff. So pause me if you want. And sorry for that pop-up bubble. There you go. Whatever. King of Comedy, great, good. I saw this. No, I've seen the movie. What I mean is I saw this scrolling it before I came on here. And we're now at the point where many to maybe nearly all of my students, which is unscientific sample size, have not even heard of Memento. Not even heard of it. And that's despite Christopher Nolan being a very popular director, even among young people. So I'm curious as to whether young people do not know about Memento, people who are 20 to 25 years old, which would have come out before they were born. And why aren't they watching this? This seems like a movie geared towards college-age sorts of people. But maybe it's dated and of its time and only for college-age Gen X people like me. When this thing came out, it was very interesting to a number of people my age. Very interesting. And why? Because the movie is backwards. Yeah, it begins at the end and ends at the beginning. A very clever movie, and for all time, it will be in the textbooks as a script example of a backwards narrative. Or the plot chronologically goes this way, but the narrative goes the other way. The narrative being the order of events that happen in the movie, the plot being the sequential chronological event structure. If you didn't understand that, fine, but I'm just telling you the plot is different from a narrative. A narrative is the order of events in a movie, and this one is backwards. So the future is the past. That's kind of cool. Love Guy Pearce. Interesting movie about language and translation issues. He's got tattoos on him. He's trying to read them because he has short-term memory loss. He can't remember what happened an hour ago, and so he looks at his tattoos and reads them to see what he's about and what he's supposed to do. Very fun premise. I'm not saying the movie's awesome, but it is memorable for those reasons, so I'm recommending it entirely for you, and it's sitting there for you on Criterion Channel. I hope you've seen it. If not, it's worth checking out. Blah, blah, blah. Did Christopher Nolan need that kind of promotion? No. No, but his older work might. Anyway, there's a bunch of good stuff here I'm skipping over, so I'm looking at stuff. I can see that their surveillance cinema, they have a whole surveillance cinema collection, is leaving. Or a lot of it is. So like this one and Body Double and Rear Window up there. But part of their surveillance collection is Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times, which is as fresh as ever. I just rewatched it a week or two ago, and I thought that was the best experience I've ever had with it, and I've seen it 5 times. So rewatching is very good, and new moments in time, new events, new life changes may bring on new meanings for movies, and Modern Times really hit me this time. So there you go. Ethan Hawke movie. And I don't know some of these, so if you all have anything to say about these, let me know. Obviously, the Hitchcock collection was on here. And there's another, probably like Memento, a movie that's been forgotten. I don't know that it's that good. I like a lot of it. It's just, I don't want to get into it too much, but I don't like the ending to Minority Report. But nevertheless, it's an interesting premise, a little weird and futuristic. Tom Cruise, of course, loves his science fiction. So there you go. A dark period for Spielberg, I would say. Very dark. Darker maybe than Temple of Doom. I think that AI, let me think about this. AI, this one, War of the Worlds, that sort of stuff, 2001, 9/11 stuff maybe, but even before that is probably his darkest period. I don't know, maybe. Singles. Oh, I gotta rewatch that. That's part of the 90s project. Have not done that. Lady Eve is good. Sort of. Love the Before trilogy. And so on and so forth. So. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Anyway, if you look at my channel, you'll see a number of videos on stuff. And here I have a video on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So just search my channel. I do have videos on some of these movies, as it turns out. As I get to... I maybe even past video number 600. I have no idea what video number I'm at. The Wrong Man. I am going to go watch through Hitchcock, by the way. Eyes Wide Shut. Okay, so there you go. And one more thing to do. We could keep scrolling. What you're seeing here, what's leaving the channel, there is too much to watch. And I've looked, by the way, I went and bought as many Hitchcock physical media copies as I could last year. What you're looking at is the equivalent of hundreds, if you're going to do this legally and ethically and etc., hundreds of dollars worth of stuff. So I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just saying like hundreds of dollars here just to watch the Hitchcocks, because otherwise you may not find these anywhere. They may not be on physical media at all, or it's just hard to find them. Although I bet in the library you'll find them. There must be a Cameron Crowe series here too. So anyway, one more thing to do, as I have not checked this yet, so this will be a surprise. What are their new collections? Celebrate Black History. It's February in America, so yes. I do not know her. Do you know her? I don't. I'll look into that. New York Love Stories. I'm about as far from New York City as you can get in every single way. So I always feel like an alien watching stories about New York City. Complete and total. The number of people who live in my county probably live on one square block in Manhattan or Brooklyn or somewhere like that. It's pretty funny if you compare populations that way. This is how weird they are. Argentine Noir. Whoever knows Argentine Noir, come along and tell us what to watch in that, because I don't know. It always is overwhelming. Nicole Kidman, Doom Generation, Cameron Crowe, there he is. Surveillance Cinema, maybe I'll just talk about that. That's at least one I'll know. I should have looked at the other ones. Anyway, some of these are leaving. Some of these are kind of sort of surveillance, but not really. Modern Times, for example. Are you on here, Modern Times? I think you should be. Yeah, there you are. There's only 10 minutes of that movie that is a surveillance-like thing. But it's pretty trippy. And ahead of its time, because they did not have that kind of surveillance there. So, 1935, 36. So it's kind of fun to watch Chaplin's vision of surveillance. And it's kind of eerily prescient. Factories watching people, and now you have monitoring people as they work in a factory or someplace like that. This is out of order chronologically. So, The Truman Show, somewhat dated. But it is a religious movie. Did you know that? Yeah, it is. Because this main character's name is Truman, and the man who controls the TV above him, way above in the sky god, is named Christoph, which is spelled Christ of. And the end of the movie is a religious conversation. So there is a religious aspect to this reality TV-like show, social media-like thing that was before social media. For good or for ill. I'll let you go watch it and check that part of it out. Gattaca, creepy. Some of these are like in the paranoid moments. I must say, 1998 is like the peak of paranoia. Well, the late 1970s, mid to late 1970s are definitely that. But this one, it's over the top in 98. It's like all these studio executives gathered together and said, you got to make a paranoid thriller no matter what. Here's a budget. And so you get Dark City, Pie, Truman Show, Enemy of the State, and there's about 8 to 10 others, and then The Matrix comes out the next year, as one of you is pointing out in the chat. So yeah, this doesn't end at all. And so you get these Minority Report, Gattaca, The Lives of Others a few years later. It just doesn't stop. And there's your mid-70s paranoid surveillance thriller, The Conversation, one of the greater movies ever made, or made in that decade, in my opinion. So there you go. And George Lucas in on surveillance cinema. This is a pretty interesting series to watch through, although you'll be covering your laptop camera and erasing your internet identity after these, I'm sure. I think none of them are going to be happy or paint a happy picture of surveillance. Has there ever been a positive image of surveillance? And yet everyone just agrees to it. So I'm very confused by the real life versus the art divide there in that subject matter. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to look at? I have questions here. Oh, Swan. Wait, what is Swan? Is that the we saw that in Paramount. I think that's. I know what I want to mention. Look, here. Well, there's my stuff. This is Mahershala Ali. I can never pronounce his name. Mahershala Ali. I love this guy as an actor. His problem is he's not getting good roles, or he's shining in movies that aren't so great or people don't totally love. Oh, so maybe you're talking about a different movie. I was thinking of Swan Song, this movie he's in. But his whole list of things he's been in, I mean, I find incredibly watchable, and yet I don't like most of these movies. I don't care for them as much as some people do. Moonlight was one that most people like. I'm shocked that Green Book has that kind of rating on it. It is so... Ugh. I took a shot at Green Book in my written review. That's why you subscribe to my Substack. But anyway, I like this guy. Why I was saying this about him was I saw he's in the new Jurassic Park movie. And the Blade remake. And someone cast this guy in something that's Coppola-esque. Like, give him what he needs. But anyway, new Jurassic Park movie. They'll never stop with these things. Never. Will this be any good? Should I watch it this summer? I don't even want to think about that. I'm not promoting that. I have no idea what to say about that. But he's in it, so I thought that was funny. Matrix is overrated. Matrix. The Matrix, the first one. I thought the first two acts are great, and obviously they've created a monster beyond themselves with the whole red pill, blue pill dynamic, which you could lapse onto just about anything at this point as a metaphor. So the problem is the third act of The Matrix, which is the problem with the sequels, where it's just action, shooting, violence stuff. Basically, the script goes nowhere except with people shooting at each other. Now, that's either good or bad. You may love the CGI and the action scenes and watch it for the sake of the action ballet, and there's reason to like movies for that purpose. The original review from Roger Ebert, the great Chicago Sun-Times critic, says exactly what I just said, that the plot stops and then it just goes into a straightforward action movie. Not just action movie, but just bad guys shooting at good guys and vice versa. So if that's your view of movies, that they need to develop complexly and humanistically, whatever that means, The Matrix does not do that in the third act. It does other stuff in the third act, and you may praise the movie for that reason, but not in like a 70s humanistic kind of way for sure. So that may be a reason to say it's overrated. What is The Matrix's rating? I have no idea. Let's do this again. Is The Matrix... I bet it's like in the top 100 movies here. I'm curious. Yeah, 8.7 out of 10, which is really, really good. Metascore is only 73. I don't love quantitative stuff, but it's decent for just like perceptions, mass perceptions. So it's useful to say, kind of label what people think. Okay, it's doing pretty well on Letterboxd too. A lot of 4s, a lot of 5s on Letterboxd. So I guess Ebert's criticism doesn't work here. Maybe. It still holds up to some degree, maybe a large degree. I think I rated it pretty. Oh yeah, 3. Because I don't want to watch it again. I've seen it enough. I don't need to see it again. Okay, Matrix. Saving Private Ryan, Schindler's List. So you're commenting on my Spielberg comment. I think you're right. Maybe it's mid. Where's his last happy movie? Hook. I mean, Hook is disturbing in its own ways, but it has a pretty happy ending. What? I felt like there was a dark period for him and a lighter period, but I could be wrong. Okay, we're director. There we go. Yeah, up there when he's doing BFG and 1010, we're getting a little happier. Hook, Jurassic Park, Schindler. May start with Jurassic Park, where half the movie, a third of it, is velociraptors coming after and almost eating kids. So maybe it starts there with a disintegration of a giant entertainment system. Maybe a comment. And then Schindler's List. Yeah, okay. Dark, and yeah. Probably gets a little lighthearted to here. 2008. So you see 15-year period of Spielberg's dark days, which some of that is the post 2001 or post 9/11, 2000s Iraq War stuff. BFG, Bridge of Spite, Ready Player One is dark, but West Side Story, yeah, Fabelmans. Okay, so we should label Spielberg's periods like you do Picasso. His blue period, his purple period. His purple period would be the color purple. See, I thought Catch Me If You Can was dark, but maybe I'm wrong. I gotta go watch that again. So you're saying it's light in the chat. How do you find the time to watch so many films? I know. Dedication. Insanity. It is part delusion. I must tell you. I'm always scared about watching films simply because most of the time I find my time wasted. I know, Brian. That is this... Brylan. Excuse me. Caldwell. Who has a bass clef icon. I like it. So here's my problem is it's hard to have a stretch of good viewing experiences. So what do? I've always recommended this. Find a critic, several critics, look at what they write, and then relate your experiences to their experiences, and you'll start to learn what probably a good movie is for you, what you'll probably like. And you'll probably know that because you have certain tastes. Like I like science fiction, even like the terrible stuff. So it's probably going to work for me. I watched The Gorge on Apple TV. I thought, at the worst, I'm kind of enjoy making fun of this and liking some of it. So I knew that would work to some extent. If you can get like a 30 to 40% ratio on recommendations from a list to movies you like you watch the whole list and 30 to 40% of that you really like, that's a great ratio. I know that sounds low, but I do mean that it's going to be real hard to get up beyond 50%. You can do your best by looking at Letterboxd and IMDb just as I did, looking at a couple critics and sort of lining everything up and going, well, they all love this thing, so probably it's worth checking out. Like, I'm sure they all line up on the Godfather movies, the first 2. I'm sure they all do. So you could probably go, okay, that's worth watching, and if nothing else, I get a cultural experience and I'll understand other people who reference it. That's why I would suggest everyone watch 2001: A Space Odyssey, for example, even though most of my students do not like it and even hate it, because the references it makes is good, or are good. I mean, will help enrich you to some extent, and you'll see that movie in other movies. So that's my best recommendation. And I see you're saying a 40% ratio in music. I agree. The reason I came up with this 30 to 40% idea is, I wonder if I have it. I'm sure I do. Oh. Well, maybe not. I was looking for a short story collection over here. So, let's get in focus. Reading through short story anthologies, I was noticing, like, I was not completing some of them. And when it was about above 30%, I like or loved 30% of the stories, then I was kind of reading through them versus like getting annoyed with the anthologies. Anthologies are picked by editors who are putting different stories together. And then I was reading through them as a teacher to try to figure out which anthologies to use. So that's part of the reason I came up with that. It's like when 3 to 4 out of 10 of the stories in that anthology were useful or interesting or enriched me in some way, then okay, great. And I find that ratio holds true with movie criticism. For example, with Letterboxd or Roger Ebert, or I would name several contemporary critics. Should I? They're my competitors. I don't care. They're not competitors. We don't compete in criticism. But anyway, that's my idea. So you can go check out my list and see if that works for you. I got a ton of lists on Letterboxd, that's for sure. To Live and Die in LA is on Prime. Is it worth watching? I didn't like it that much, but most people like it. So it's a good question. Do you all like this movie? Maybe you've not seen it. It's a William Friedkin movie who made The Exorcist and The French Connection, among others. It's got a nice premise. I thought the premise would work for me. Did I not rate this? Oh, 3 stars. Okay, it must have been okay. But there's a great, great car chase scene in here. Yeah, okay, these people like it. Anyway, most people like this more than me. So the answer is yes. If you like the premise, that's another thing I do. I read this premise and I go, if this is not good to bad, am I going to be ticked? Right? Is this going to be awful? And so, yeah. With this premise, not so much. Now, I'll tell you a movie, I have to roast it. And now you're getting me going. My wife and I watched this for a date night. I had it on my hard drive for a long time from a library copy. And I love or like John Patrick Shanley, who made Doubt and Joe versus the Volcano. These are the only 3 movies he's directed. I really like these 2 movies, or kind of respect them at least. He wrote Moonstruck. Am I going to see his writing credits? So I'm going to give him all the credit in the world. And honestly, Congo is kind of a fun, schlocky science fiction movie. It is legit not bad. As long as you're in on the jokes and the winking at you. So do not sleep on that one, even though it sounds stupid. Joe versus the Volcano has a stupid third act, but its cultural criticism is quite spot on. Anyway, I like him to some extent, and then he made this movie, and I cannot believe what was the attempt to pull off something in here. Now, I won't give it away, but there is a character / plot reveal at the end of this that I have never seen in my life. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And it is so out of nowhere, incredibly insane. That is why you're seeing this level of rating. So if you want to see the craziest reveal that makes no sense, the movie barely sets you up for it. And so I'm imagining all these people, including people who are interested in romantic comedies and Emily Blunt, they're just looking for entertainment on the weekend like I did with my wife. Just a pleasant romantic movie set in Ireland. And that reveal shows up. The rage, I can just feel it coming from this rating right here. I have to mention this. I didn't write about it because I was all tired out, but even that's too generous. It's pretty stereotypical Irish romantic comedy sort of thing. John Hamm's in it, but all-time worst reveal. I'm sorry, John Patrick Shanley. I do know what you were going for. I get it intellectually. It makes sense, but when you watch this movie, it's going to be hard for any of you to accept what it brings up. I like Conspiracy Theory. That's another one of those paranoid 90s movies. Good job bringing that up. And Enemy of the State is not bad. It's not great, but Hackman's in it, and he lights up everything. And to some extent, as a paranoid surveillance deal, it's watchable. I mean, I enjoyed watching it recently in the last, I think in the last 6 months I saw it again. I hadn't seen it since it came out. Tony Scott, you know what you're getting if it's a Tony Scott movie. So that's one thing I like about him. It's like straight up, accept this, and then you're going to get it. So I like that. And conspiracy theories, I sort of like too. I'm glad that. Oh, there you go. Anyway, a Best Picture prediction. I have not seen the Oscars for Best Picture yet. I dare spend the money on these? No one is enthused about the Oscars that I'm reading about. Like, everyone's saying this is a bad year. And that's some people, not everybody. It's not 100% true opinion, but yeah. Oh, John Voight's in Enemy of the State? Yeah. You loved it, watched it dozens of times as a kid. Yeah, it does strike me as a movie that if you were 10 or 15, is that the right age? You could latch onto it and rewatch it, and it'd be really engrossing. And just some of the premises in the Enemy of the State have shown up. Like, maybe you need to go off the grid for various reasons. Like, just get away from it all and don't get a cell phone, and et cetera, et cetera. Kind of show up here before smartphones. So in that sense, it kind of holds up. I don't know how much I recommend it. I think some of you will know if you like it. Short story anthology? Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, Ted Chiang's good. I do agree. That's a good recommendation. All right. Well, it's my wife's birthday. I got to go home and make dinner. I haven't seen Nickel Boys, so I will answer this question. I did a Substack on this where I looked at the gross box office of all the Oscar winners, and I was shocked to see, I think this one hadn't even made $1 million in the United States. Even in the world, maybe. And maybe because it didn't get wide release. This one, everyone's loving this, recommending it to me. I haven't seen it. Is it accessible? It's accessible, except I have to buy it for $20. Well, my channel's on a budget, so the answer is no, I cannot afford that, given my budget. If it comes down to $5, I will watch it. Which it will, in time. And the other movie I desperately want to see, I don't have the time for it, or I haven't gotten enthused to mess around with the VPN setup. Yeah. I have to see this now. This is so bad, this rating. I feel like I want to like it right now. Anyway, guess what? It's disappeared. There's no Blu-ray for it. There's no streaming. So Coppola, all the hullabaloo about 4 months ago, it's just gone. I hope it comes back out on disc. I mean, if this were the era where there were rental stores, you would see the disc in the rental stores. It would be promoted because it would have a second life as physical media in rental stores. People go to rental stores to find movies. Nowadays, new movies can just disappear. Yeah. I wonder what Coppola thinks of this. I feel sorry for him. So I need to see this, but I think I can see it. See, you see, people ask me all the time, where do you watch movies? Like, just go on Just Watch or Letterboxd. You can find it. I figure one of these countries has it. France. So, VPN, France, watch Megalopolis. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. But yeah, Nickel Boys hasn't even... Okay. Commenter, chat says, Nickel Boys hasn't played in a city with a lot of independent theaters. Like, I don't know what's going on with it. Please, it's nominated. Now you've got all the advertising in the world. Please release it and just plaster the internet with one of the best pictures of the year you must see. I mean, they've got the nomination. I don't know the business well enough to tell you why that's the case, but this thing is getting a lot of traction, yet I cannot... Yeah, I cannot fathom why I'm not available to get... Well, now I've got France there. Why I'm not able to get this. So, anyway, I can if I buy it. Whatever. Well, if you donate to Substack, maybe I can. I'll watch it. But thanks, everybody. This is a good chat. I love it. I absolutely love it. Substack, Letterboxd, and YouTube. That's where I'm at. 90s watching project on Letterboxd, plus maybe I'll watch a couple of these Oscar winners. That's what you're going to see from me in the next week or two, if not 3. I'm also going to a silent film festival next week. And I need to get out of town because it is freezing here. Horrifically cold weather. Anyway, okay. That's all. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless America and the world, etc. I keep saying that in class as a joke, and to have fun. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Thanks for the chat. You guys are great. Take care.